Our special guest today is Jimmy Mack. He is a renowned medical intuitive and spiritual life coach who has had many decades of working with clients and pets around the globe on a wide range of challenges, diseases, and disorders. He has practiced a variety of modalities, including Reiki, psychic development courses, remote viewing, ascension with the monks, theta healing, access consciousness, reconnective three healing, and various courses in the Yuan method. He's also a certified practitioner in matrix energetics and a certified shaman with a doctorate in divinity. After a near death experience in ICU, it changed his life forever. Jimmy is now gifted with the increased ability to read people's energy fields, access outer realms, and frequencies. He was divinely shown and then developed a simpler way to create healing and profound transformational changes, now known as My Liquid Fish, Change Made Simple. He's melded all these experiences and what he considers the best of the best into what he now practices and teaches to clients and practitioners worldwide, accessing energetic powers and co creating changes that you can actually feel. He's the author of 9 books and over 40 energetic clearing and healing audio processes on a variety of self improvement topics. He offers an online mastery and practitioner certification program, as well as his online masterclasses, Anchors Away and Life Force Energy, Fishing with Numbers. Please welcome Jimmy Mack.
So, hello, Jimmy. How are you today?
Hi, good. Good to see you. Glad to see you again.
Yes, I'm excited to see you and get to actually talk to you one-on-one. It's really great. So, if you would just expand a little bit for everybody, how is it that you came up with, fell into, it came down and was downloaded, My Liquid Fish?
Sure. I mean, the fast version really is did a lot of different healings like everybody else. I was a seeker, and even early on in my teens, I was playing with pendulums and dowsing and that sort of thing. I took a million different courses, everybody I could get with: theta healing, reconnective healing, matrix energetics, Yuan method, access consciousness, of course, ascension with the monks. I did a little bit of everything. But then I had a really roaring practice and was staying busy. But then I had an event in South Florida. I had a gallbladder attack. They took my gallbladder out, but they about killed me. They gave me too much anesthesia. So I was in
Wow.
ICU. Yeah, I died in ICU every single night for 3 nights in a row. And the only thing that brought me back was nurses. So it was very profound. I learned something each and every night. I was going up into what looked like portals of deep inner space. I never saw Jesus, never saw white light. My brothers crossed over and never saw my brother. It was just very different. You feel at peace. You certainly feel neither warm nor cold. It's hard to describe, but the colors were vast and very deep, and it tears me up to even talk about it, but that's what I was going up into. And so if you look at the web type of photographs they're bringing back and the deep inner galaxies, that's what I was going up into. So a couple things happened after that. Obviously, I'm not afraid of death anymore. Not that I ever was, but now I'm really not. And I know I'm not going to incarnate back here or be a dog or a, I don't know, truck driver again or something. That's not happening because I'm going, rocketing to wherever to help and contribute to something else on a deeper level. But what they showed me during that really was the diagram of infinity, which of course looks like an 8 on its side. If you jettison off the back left end, you wind up with a fish, and not the Christian fish symbol with the little sharp face, but more like a kid who's 3 years old and you hand him a red crayon, you say, draw a fish. And so it looks more like this. And what happens is you're breaking into, let's just say, infinity, and you're taking what I call earth negative weakness at the bottom left, and you're jettisoning that out into the void, if you will. And anything that's positive we don't have, we're going into the heavens, and we're bringing that through the fish and slowing that down as a conduit to bring it into us. And so that's the basics of it. it was a real shake your fist at God moment, because it's like, who wants to bring out a new method or technique to the world, right? It's like, gosh, y'all. And, but if not me, who, I guess. And so now we just have it open source. It's worldwide. I've taught a lot of folks how to do it. We have a basic and advanced course, and now there's practitioners around the world doing it. And so the results are phenomenal. And I believe it is something that we're always trying to communicate with them. Everybody's trying to, be more into good fortune and make more money, just really raise their vibrational level. As Tesla relates to energy, frequency, vibration, that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. And I believe we're going back up into the cosmic soup of all it is. Once you experience that, you couldn't care less about being here. But what I believe is this is the technique that they understand, that the spirit world understands. And so there's a big difference between us trying to communicate with them through prayers and everything else. And I tell folks, if you're on a plane and there's 200 passengers on board, once you land, the only person really getting you to the gate is the guy with the little cones. Other than that, the pilot can't even hook up to the terminal. So I believe that these are the techniques. This is the hand movement, if you will. It looks like a yoga or Tai Chi move that they understand. And that changes everything, because then you're really relating deeper with them. And you want to delete out the negative, download more positive. Over time, what I've figured out really is we're just awesome beings. We're really highly evolved spiritual beings inside of all this. And what happens is, over time, through obviously education, religion, politics, society, a bad marriage, whatever, work, job, career, it tends to muck us up. And so we relate in my world to everything nautical. So it would be, you wind up with mud, you wind up with seaweed, you wind up with, too much salt water on you, whatever. And you want to get rid of that. And once you do that and tear out all the negative, then you restore the pathways to being more in acceptance and allowance of that continued good to come in.
All of that is exactly right. Now, I've gotten to experience this. I was reminding Jimmy that he worked on my dog. And so I got to be the conduit for my dog. But it really is very quick and comprehensive, because you're working not just in the current life, but in people's, all of their existences. So what have you found to be like the most profound shift that you've experienced helping someone using liquid fish?
Well, I believe everybody has different outcomes on it, but it does relate, like you said, to everything. It goes very deep. It works on a DNA level. It works on the history of all past lives, the soul level of us hooked up to God. 9.9 out of 10 people don't have an issue with spirit level or soul level whatsoever. It's really everything else that weighs us down. So I've had everything from people who had changes, let's just say in cancer. I don't use the cure word, but I would say they've had remissions, things like that, restored relationships, work, job, careers, gotten promotions, all of that. The one that comes to mind when you ask about that is, I did have a client who, and I'd never heard of it before, but she had like a sacral cancer, a low back cancer, and it was the size of the moon for her. And I worked on her one time for a half an hour. And when she returned back to another state, they did all of her testing again. And she was in a drug study group with a bunch of people. And it had gone from a full moon to like a quarter moon. And the doctor even said to her, "My God, what did you do? Who did you see? What are you taking that you're not telling me?" And so she told him all about that. And she was so sweet and funny, and sent me the, chart notes where he mentioned patient claims they saw healer in Florida named Jimmy Mack. And so I thought that was endearing. And they had to kick her out of the drug study, because she would have set the curve on that too. So that's even more ironic.
Amazing.
So that's up in the top 10 for sure. And we always say your results may vary. So I never know what we're going to get into, but we're going to give it the college try always.
There is so much that can be done. So how would you apply this, or advise people how to apply it for current existence because it's has a lot of people unstable
Mhm.
and or where they're grappling for stability. Really, it seems like the minute they have it, something happens. And
Yeah,
there's seismic shifts happening for people,
no doubt.
whether it be health or relationships or, job, big things are happening and more than one at a time, many times. So, how can they apply this to help them? And what advice would you give them, even outside of this, regarding your own experience really going out into the void and applying that to current life?
Yeah, so I would say the best for everybody, regardless, would be to do things like Tai Chi, yoga, the breath work, Pilates, really take better care of yourselves. We all tend to want to be, especially in this field, the helper, the contributor for others. And so, people say, I love your Hawaiian shirt. I'm trying to take it off and hand it to them. I got a rack full, right? And so that's kind of the way you go about life. But, the statement is you want to be your own best friend. And how would you treat your own best friend? You would always be benevolent, loving, and kind to them. So I think that's a huge part of it, especially as we age. You want to be more aware of your health. Self-care becomes more and more important. Eating clean, tons of water, the usual. And you need to get out in the sun a little bit. Someone said the other day, I love this meme, and it was, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but they said, we need sunlight and water and to be outside, outdoors. We're just really house plants with a lot more feelings and connection. And so I thought that was cute and funny. So I would say grounding more than anything. You want to always be working on it, at least have the ability to raise your vibrational level. Again, it's energy, frequency, and the vibration. So you want to be up pretty high in all that all the time. I don't sleep much anymore. I'm like in it all the time. And so I'm bridging both worlds kind of with the little Google bar open, if you will. And so when I need things, I'm just going up and grabbing it, whatever it may be. But I can tell you over time, you can get there. And over time, the barriers become less and less. So, and yeah, and the instability of the world, you want to rise above it. You just cannot let any of this bother you. It's kind of like, to your point about, people getting knocked off, let's say, in a bad day, a bad doctor result, whatever it may be, bad relationship, a fight or argument at work, that sort of thing. You still want to restore yourself back to being very, very zen and as calm as possible to get through it. And, it's kind of the old joke of it's none of my business what somebody else thinks of me. And whatever they might say to you or be towards you, really at the end of the day, that's their issue. I saw my mentor a while back, and he was at LA Fitness, and he was always very spoken parables, very profound. I said, "How are you doing?" He said, "I'm great, and if I'm not, I'm running for the mirror." So, yeah, he meant that it was always about him. So it's like, what's going on
Oh,
with me that I'm triggered by this person? It's like, yeah, you can't just say hello, right? I got to think
right.
about it, right? So that's really
That's
it. You really want to work on your energy, your frequency, your vibration. If you walk into that party and whatever, and that person's verbose and obnoxious and drunk and they're going to give you a hard time, I'm not going to be anywhere near any of that. And there's plenty of people that are toxic that we've had in our lives. And I think as you age, you should see the red flags everywhere and just have as little to do as possible with some folks if they're going to bring you down. You want to really maintain that energy, the frequency, the vibration as high up as you can at all times. I'll just say that.
I totally agree. It it's okay. Since I have three children, it makes it more of a challenge for sure. As I remind them that, okay, right, we're family, right? We're supposed to be working together, not adversely toward one another. And it's, really quite interesting trying to get everybody on the same page and to not be just bratty, because when there are people in your home that are
Yeah.
not following your high vibe and everything that we believe, how do you handle that? How would you
Yeah.
use liquid fish to do
Yeah,
that?
I absolutely would. I'd be working on the kids too. So I would do a lot of different things. I would look at even their astrology and figure out what they are and what they respond to. And if your particular child is really into, let's just say, the little iPad and math games and all that, I'm not going to try and, slam them into creative writing. So I think that it's important to always remember they're kind of little mini me's and little mini adults growing up. I've got, thankfully, two grown sons now. They married their high school sweethearts, had beautiful children. So I love visiting the grandchildren, but I'm going to leave there like within an hour kind of thing. And then everybody goes, "Where's Grandpa going?" And I said, "Grandpa's got a thing. I'm thinking I got to be anywhere but here, right? I've already done this. So I have cats and that's it." So I would work on them. I would work on each one individually. I'd work on them as a group, as a whole, and the energy in the in between. There's energy between you and I right now, and there would be energy between you and each of the three. And then I'd work on the collective too. And I'd calm that down and raise the vibration of all that as well and bring some peace and grounding to that. But I would tell you as a parent too that all that'll pass. You are going to blink. I had a movie star client, and he always says, the days are long, but the years fly by. So before you know it, they're going to be rolling their eyes and, taking the car to the big game. And that's it.
Oh,
And so
they're
it goes
already
by
there.
fast. Yeah. So
I
it
mean,
goes by fast. So
I'm
then you move
so
on to,
surprised.
yeah, college and then marriage and moving out and whatever. So it's continually moving and evolving. But you do your best to have them all get along. Not everybody gets along. So I always tell people sometimes
Totally.
if you don't get along with your brother or sister, maybe you're best friends with your next door neighbor or some coworker at work, right? And that's your vibe. And so you still want to be loving and kind to your family as much as you possibly can, and especially the kids. But I think we're all doing our best given that. And things have changed a lot to your point over years, right? And so now I think
Yeah.
also everything is really speeding up and it's going a lot faster.
Well, that is perfect because I was going
Mhm.
to ask you
Mhm.
what do you receive as far as where we're heading? And now I always refer things back to the scale of consciousness because it's very easy to grasp.
Okay.
So, in your understanding as a collective, would you agree with or have a take on that the divide has happened? And, or is there still more time for people that may not have chosen to heal and move? What do you think about it? I mean, we're
I
talking
think
about ascension
yeah.
here, right?
Oh, I
So,
know. Yeah. And to your point on the scale of consciousness, you go back to David Hawkins, MD, who wrote all of that. And I've read all that, Power versus Force and the I and the I of the I and all of his books. And so his tipping point statement was it all happened about 1986. So very interesting. But I think it's all accelerated since then. It's picking up steam.
mhm,
And I would say around all that, it's never too late. So people, if they have an awareness or they work with somebody like yourself or me, or they keep raising their consciousness level, you're not going to run out of time. I think there's still plenty of time to do it. But I will say things have really accelerated and are going a lot faster. So I got an American Indian drum playing in the back of my head, and it's like go, 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 and contribute and help everybody you can as much as you can all the way to the door. And that's why I do even interviews and summits and things like this, because we really want to get the word out.
it's so important.
Hmm.
It's so important. And not only that, but I think having someone like yourself who can help somebody move quickly
Hmm.
through the issues, because I know that, compared to years past, it would take much longer to undo the negative, as you were talking about earlier.
Right.
And it's much faster now
I agree.
because we have more open to us.
I agree. Yeah. And I think it's flooding in. And I'll say this without jumping off too far onto the UFO stuff and all that. I love Greer, MD, and people like that. They can look up on Gaia and YouTube and all that. Stephen Greer, MD, was a emergency room physician out of Virginia, and I think he's talked to and been around more people about the UFOs and aliens and that sort of thing. And the bottom line piece, though, is they're benevolent, loving, and kind. They're super intelligent. They look like, almost the orbs and things behind me, angelic, if you will. And so that's where I believe we aspire to over time, just to raise our consciousness level high up enough to where we can really, be in a better spot. And I believe you can rise above it, just like an airplane would go over the turbulence. They're going to just change altitude and fly up above it. And you can really do that with your life. You can do that with a health issue. I tell folks, as fast as something came upon you, you can also take it back in the other direction if it's negative. So it's all possible. And I think it's all hand in hand with a little bit of everything.
Wow. That's a can of worms that
Mhm.
I totally agree with you. And I believe it, like, to my core.
Mhm.
And what's interesting for myself is that I am working through breast cancer.
Okay.
And I'm sure it's why you keep hitting on cancer.
Mhm.
So what's fascinating is I recently was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I've learned the lessons and I'm grateful. I mean, and so much is coming out of it for, helping others and explaining, it is possible to come through this in a holistic way and to feel amazing and to actually gain health through the process, which is amazing. It's been very positive for me in that way. And then you're like, okay, so I'm so impatient.
Mhm. So you want to
I'm
work
very,
on that. You want to change that. That's for
yeah,
sure.
because I'm like, okay, it's
Mhm.
moving really slowly. Like, it's
Mhm.
so funny that, like, my health is doing great, but yet you're
Mhm.
like, okay, well, the tumor is only going down just a little bit. And
Mhm.
so it is asking every day and working to keep my frequency high,
Yes.
my cell vitality high, and to, like you say, rise above it, because it is all about the energetic level. And it was proven to me when I was actually at a naturopath in Delray, here in Florida.
Mhm.
And she has equipment that measures your cell vitality. And she's like, how are your scans so good? And I said, it's quantum emotional healing. That's what it's just working on the quantum level, all
Mhm.
of these things and releasing all the stuff and, believing that this is a nothing. And it's just a momentary thing. But it's fascinating because as humans, then I've done my best to keep all the people who actually don't believe like me far away.
Yes. Yeah, and I would say to that too, it's fine. People have to kind of make their own choice. So if they want to go through the radiation, the chemo, the surgery, whatever it is, this is in addition to, it's not entirely instead of. But it's a huge multifaceted approach, the nutrition, the water,
Oh,
seeing the naturopathic people, doing the energy work. So I mean, there's a lot of levels to it, and
so
you
many.
want to kind of play with them all and see what's going to work out, right?
I believe, it's been interesting. If nothing else, it has solidified my faith and trust in the universe.
Hmm.
Because every time I reach the next step of something that's needed, either the person or the information, whatever it is, literally is lands straight in my lap without me looking for it.
That's
And
amazing. Hmm.
it is amazing. And it makes you, I mean, that's what has given me probably the most joy and the most peace, is that I'm exactly where I need to be, right exactly when I need to be there. And it's not about wasting that energy trying to figure it out, which I think is what many of us do when we're struggling with something. And then that's when your energy plummets, and that's when you're actually more lost than found. And that that is what people need to work through is their faith and trust. Just as you were saying, like you now have this whole expanded view of
Hmm.
what's actually on the other side. And that's given you peace to know exactly where you are. So how can people get there, Jimmy, without having to have a three near-death experiences?
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, that's for sure. Um, again, we have an online course. We fast track everything. We show people how to do it. I don't know if there was anything faster or
Okay,
deeper than
but
this, I would be doing it. Yeah.
this is
So you can
important.
learn it. You can
So
learn it.
you can go out to Jimmy's website so we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about your free gift, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Sure.
you want to tell us about it?
You have a reference point there for it. I think it's a link.
Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
is the free summit gift.
Oh, that's what she has. Yeah, I believe it's Mind. We do Zooms every month. We have people tune in from all over the world. And so we'll have everybody submit three different requests. And so right now we're doing the well springs of life, the 7 well springs of life. And it's very interesting. So, and I'll go fast on this, but it would be body, mind, spirit, relationships, health, and money, work, job, career. So I believe what she has queued up for this is the mind and clearings of the mind. Because to your point earlier, when you're saying that, we're overthinking it, we're looking for our car keys, we're getting frustrated, we're getting pissed off, and that just lowers the vibration back down. And so you want to do enough clearings to where that comes about. And so the mind piece is really, really heavy. We're overthinking everything. We're superimposing perhaps on your 3 children how you would handle it if you were them and you're not them. And so that we need to come back from. So that's the basic gift on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
all
And
you do is watch it and the changes are occurring. So
excellent. That's
mhm,
even better.
mhm,
So if people want to learn more about your course, because I know it's super affordable
mhm.
and it's comprehensive, so it can help them learn how to do it for yourself, your family, your pets, everybody,
Yes.
right? So give us your website.
Yeah, they just go to jimmymackhealing.com. It's JIMMYMACK healing.com, and everything's listed there. And if they want to look through products and other services, it's jimmymackhealingshop.com. And there's a whole Shopify set up there, and there's a lot of different things. We probably have now about 40 audio MP3s, I think 8 or 9 books, and they're also available. Of course, they're ebook downloads, and there's just a lot of information on there. We, as I mentioned, have a monthly Zoom that's been very popular. It's where we all come together and kind of have a commune for a little bit, maybe a half hour or so, and do a lot of clearings on that. And people are invited to join in on any of those pieces they want. If they like or don't like this, that, or the other thing, it's okay. It's a preference. But we put it out there for everybody. So jimmymackhealing.com is the first place to start. You can sign up there. We have a weekly e-newsletter, and it tells everything throughout. It's comprehensive of all the different things we offer. So yeah.
And it's easy
Yes.
for
Well, it's easy and it's deep. It's kind of mysteriously easy, I would say, but there's a lot of nuances to it. And so over time, you figure out what those are, and it all goes even faster. But yes, I've taught 12-year-olds how to fish, and I've taught a 91-year-old how to fish. So it's easy to follow along and figure it out in a hurry. And we're always, the only thing I can guarantee you is death, taxes, and change. And so if you don't like change, buckle up because it's coming and it's always something different, right? And so
it is.
in the influx of change, that's where we can really make a difference, even if it's cancer or whatever it may be, relationships, you can change things on a dime. And that's impressive over time to be able to do that.
Yeah, see, that's where my impatience comes from.
Right. Well, you should work on that.
Because
Work
I
on that.
know it should be able to change
Yes,
on a
yes,
dime.
yes.
And so what's hilarious is I just figured like, well, whose dime is it? That
Hmm.
must be what is the difference.
Right.
And yes, we're learning, all of us along the way. It's really, I truly believe what you are saying, which is it's all about your frequency and staying high enough. And then really nothing does get you down, even when, it's not the greatest, but
Right.
it's also kind of, it just, I don't know, it doesn't have the heaviness that
Yes.
this
That's
world has.
that's a good word for it. There was a cute meme the other day, and it had the planet Earth, and it had the Milky Way and the galaxies and everything else, and it had a little arrow, and it said, "You're here paying taxes, living in fear." So I thought that was cute. It's like, oh my God, none of this matters. It matters so little. It's incredible, you know. So you just want to be as benevolent, loving, and kind to everybody as you can. My joke about it all is worst case scenario, you lose everything, you roam the streets at night, you die face down in the gutter, you still get to go to heaven. So if you know that going in, right, it's like, okay, well then I'm going to go for it and do the very best I can on all fronts. And so that's where I'm coming from.
Especially because, like you said, you're not coming back here.
Yeah, I
And
have no doubt about that. None.
that
So,
is
yeah.
that is the evolution. That is the
Yes.
ascension. That is
Yes.
exactly the point, is
Yes.
that you're done here, checked out, and I did it, and I'm moving on. And
Yes.
going back to the higher dimensions and other worlds,
No
doing other
doubt.
things,
No
right?
doubt. Yeah.
Reclaiming your real angelic self, or whatever it
Yes.
is.
Yes,
No
whatever it may
longer,
be.
that's right, no longer doing the human, this 3D low vibe
Ooh, yeah,
crap.
that's brutal. Dolores Cannon said it best. She said, "We came here to the Earth School to learn how to manipulate energy." And so manipulation may have a negative connotation, but I would say we came here to learn how to move the energy and to lower the negative and raise the positive vibrational pieces. And once you hook into the energy and the frequency and the vibration, similar to Tesla's formula, that's really the key, the 369 piece of it. And you can start changing all kinds of things. So it's very, very simple, but it's also very deep and very comprehensive.
And with that,
Hmm.
I would say we've had a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for sharing your many, many years of experience into a nutshell. I appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
you're welcome. We just want to encourage everyone to seek out Jimmy's My Liquid Fish. It is really wonderful. I have experienced it, as I said, and I think it's really fantastic to bring it forward at this time, because we just need to keep going. That's
Yes.
it. That's
And
always the
feel
message.
yeah, and feel better about keeping going too. And I appreciate you doing this and getting the word out to everybody and talking to a lot of different folks and putting things out there because people might resonate with me or you or the next interview you do. And so the goal is not really how you get there, but you better get there.
Totally. Absolutely. All right. With that, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll see you on the next interview.
Thank you.